Hello and welcome back to more AEW on TEW2020. We are here, second week of June for a show of Rampage. As we start off with Team Tully, Tony Deppen, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Fred Yehi, taking on the AEW's Bullet Club, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Scorpio Sky. Team Tully does pick up the win. Scorpio Sky, the only one not performing in the 50s. That's supposed to be AJ Styles. Anyway, so AJ Styles, who's at ringside, gets in the ring following the match. His hands held up. He's not gonna do any cheap shots to tell these guys. Says, "You guys know how to wrestle, and that's all good. That's why I want to bring you three aboard." Tully, you know something about legendary stables. The Four Horsemen is one of the best that the world has ever seen, and the Bullet Club, well, we ain't far behind. You guys have some good pedigree, some good name value on your own. I mean, Davey's the son of someone who is beloved by the world back in his day. And, I mean, we're not going to complain about that sort of family tie in our group. We're not going to complain about people with your stats, with your status, your skill, your abilities in the ring, and your status in pro wrestling to join our group. It's a free offer that you lose nothing on, Tully Blanchard, so why not just take it? Samoa Joe is then being interviewed by Trish Stratus, who asks him about his thoughts on the future of AEW. And he says, the future? Well, it's something that's in the back of my mind. I mean, at one point in time, I was considered part of the future of the business myself. And there's certainly a lot of people to look around. People like MJF, the Lamberts, Lavender, Sky, Vikingo, but here's the thing about talking about the future. I'm not going to deny that I'm some veteran. I'm not going to deny that maybe my best years are behind me. But any time that you talk to someone like me about the future of the company, about the future of pro wrestling, it always leads to one specific thing. The thought that I'm done. The thought that I'm only around so that the boys in the back, that those young guns can keep on moving on, that they can get stronger and stronger, that they can take my place. But you know what, Trish? I'm not done yet. I don't care what people have been saying about me, that I'm old, that I'm out of shape, all this other shit that people want to say about me, because they've been doing that my whole career. So you know what? They've been doing that my whole career. I'm gonna do right back to them what I have done my whole career. I'm going to prove those people wrong. MJF, you've got your beef with Miro the Lamberts, you got your tag team titles. But Vikingo, you're definitely an interesting one, Vikingo. And it's your lucky day. Well, not for long it won't be. The early part of that, going off the cuff, that was well. Did not end well. After this, definitely our worst match on the card. Queen Lupa defeats Maria de Pasqua. Then Paige Van Zant's music plays as Paul Heyman makes his way to the ring with Van Zant following suit. I have finally actually listened to Paige Van Zant's entrance music. They're definitely gonna have to do a censored version for TV. Heyman then begins talking. He says, Queen Lupa, the warwolf of AEW, the 14-year veteran, someone who knows what it's like to be a champion on Wednesday nights. Sure, you're someone that knows success in the squared circle, someone who knows what it's like to be a great pro wrestler, and someone who definitely has the tenure to be respected in pro wrestling. But my client, Paige Van Zant, she's more than just a wrestler. She's one of the most well-known female MMA fighters in recent years, and she's someone who legitimately knows how to break people and knock them out, make them tap out, and she's done it on pay-per-view more than you have. I have all the respect for you, Queen Lupa. That's why I was the one who pitched for Tony Khan to make a call to bring you into AEW. But you have to know something, Lupa. Going up against Paige Van Zant, that's something that you just can't succeed in. It's more than true that you just can't succeed. That no matter what you try, Paige Van Zant will always be one step ahead, one punch ahead. You're gonna go down. But you know what? Paige Van Zant, she's gonna be ready for you at any point in time, Lupa. And of course, I'm the one making the matches. So whenever you're ready, just give me a call. He leaves. So, segment, good rating on the segment. I needed heat for the angle. After this, Daga is then seen at the LWO headquarters, flanked by Homicide and Bandito. He says AJ Styles talks all he wants about the greatest stables in pro wrestling history. The Four Horsemen, the Bullet Club. Neither of those matter. None of them can compare to the LWO. Time and time again, the Bullet Club has failed and faltered. Time and time again, it's risen up in relevance, only to crash down, tumbling, and now it's just a shell of its former self. The Four Horsemen, we've seen that gimmick tried time and time again as well. And each time that it's gone up, it's gone down in smoke. But the LWO? Well, sure, maybe back in the heyday, back with Eddie Guerrero, we weren't exactly the most notable. But now, well, we know when to strike. We've been biding our time, because I can't deny that we've been quiet since our formation. But that changes in the coming days, in the coming weeks. The world will be on watch for us. Not just in AEW, all across the world, and no one is exempt. No champions, no staff, no wrestlers in backstage, nor MJF's little crybaby underlings who want to pretend that they're better than us. So, just kind of that last one, a little bit shoehorned in for that last line, but just to kind of tie it in with the thing we had last week, Dynamite. Not the last episode, 2 episodes ago. 3 episodes ago. Yeah, 3 episodes ago. After this, this is a little bit of a weird one. So, FTR defeat the Acclaimed when the Lucha Bros attack FTR. That's the TLDR. Because, as if it couldn't have been, not necessarily predicted, it's very obvious that, right as FTR are about to hit their finisher, the Lucha Bros, of course part of the LWO, they rush in and they start beating down on FTR right in plain sight. There is no subtlety about this. Ref rings the bell, and the Acclaimed are like, hey, you made us lose. And also, they're just good guys in general, so they try to save FTR. Antonio Banks, who's at ringside, calls them off, hey, don't get involved with this. We're not, this isn't our problem. It's just, we're not making any money if we're hurt by dealing with whatever they want to do. Eventually, Charles Betts and Zack Sabre Jr., who are Dax and Cash's fellow stablemates with Kurt Angle, they rush out. The Lucha Bros, they know that they're outnumbered. They possibly, I'm imagining that they're thinking they could probably still fight off those two, but it's not worth the risk. So they just skedaddle, and they are content with their destruction on FTR. After this, a very disheveled Brody Lee is seen in a video package talking to the camera, in the office of the Dark Order, but it's looking very post-apocalyptic. It says, my Dark Order, gone. My title, gone. The respect the people have had for me, gone. Just like how it's been my whole career, you damn people have all forgotten about me. Whether it's the people up top, whether it's you fans. You've forgotten about someone who's worked his ass off and carried companies through their darkest times for my entire career. I've dealt with all of you forgetting me, and I'm done dealing with it. I've dealt with the world forgetting about Brody Lee. But that changes. Ricochet has already felt my wrath. He knows what it's like to face off against Brody Lee, about what happens when you mess with Brody Lee. Well, if you just get in my way. But it's not just AEW that needs to remember me. See, we've had times when New Japan's gotten involved. New Japan, CMLL, all those other people out there in the pro wrestling world who forget just how good I am. Yuji Nagata. You have a nice, shiny little belt around your waist, a nice way to show off that you're a champion in pro wrestling. Something that, well, I haven't seen in a little bit, and people need to remember that I am championship caliber. How's about on Wednesday? Dynamite, here in America, you come over here, and I take that belt off of you, no matter how broken you need to be. So Brody Lee challenging for the IWGP US title. That will be on the next Dynamite. After this, Griffin Slade defeats Marshall Von Erich, arm trap, Hangman's neckbreaker. Griffin Slade still is quite, he's very inexperienced, still getting some good wins though. Following the match, Wardlow comes out to the ring, he gets face-to-face with Slade. Of course, both of them, well, Wardlow, MJF's former bodyguard, Griffin Slade, his current bodyguard. Cody, his music plays, he has his whole entrance, honestly. He comes to the ring, he has a mic, he says, I know you two have your problems with each other. And, well, I know that those problems stem from MJF. Griffin, I'm going to tell you this as someone with all the faith in the world in you, someone who oversaw your training back at the Nightmare Factory. I know that MJF's going to betray you. He turned on Wardlow when he got injured by just abandoning him. He turned on me because, well, that's just what MJF does. Griffin, I know how good of a wrestler you are. I know how much potential both you and Wardlow have. And with both of you being number one and the number 1 and 2 contenders for this US title, I don't want you doing anything that you're going to regret. I don't want you doing anything to ruin your chance to represent this title. So, I suggest you calm down, and Griffin Slade cuts Cody off by goozling him. I wasn't sure how to spell goozle initially, but it's fun to say, and I need to say goozle more often. Wardlow, however, he quickly breaks it up on Slade. Cody, he rushes out of the ring. The two bodyguards start fighting it out. Eventually, backstage staff come out because it's a brawl segment, obviously. After this, Miro is seen sitting in a church. He's all by himself. He says, MJF, what you've said is... it's something that's been pulling at me for a while. Even now, almost 2 years since it happened. All that happens with me is that I'm reminded of the biggest mistake in my career. When I was so focused on the success of my career, when I was so focused on trying to get that world title, that I threw away what I really was, who I was for the sake of that goal, for the sake of that title. I'm someone that's been hated by people ever since then, and honestly, I can't fault them. I made a mistake. Simple as that. But every day, I come back here. I come back to this thought that I come back for forgiveness, even though I don't deserve it. And that's what makes me different from you, MJF. Sure, we both have done things that we're never going to get forgiven for. We both have done things that have alienated us from the people. Both have done things that people will never forgive us for. You would stab your own mother in the back for a shot at that world title, and once upon a time, I did that same thing. You do it again and again and again. You never apologize because you don't care about what you do. The end justifies the means for you. The only person whose opinion you care about is your own. I don't deserve to be someone that people cheer for. But I will do whatever I can to make up for my mistakes. And if I have to do that by cleaning you up, by trying to clean up Pac, by doing anything that I can, facing any hardship on me, I will do it. Struggling when going off script. He's a good promo though, but oh well. Io Shirai then defeats Lady Lydia with the moonsault. Mayu was on commentary for this. Speaking of, she spent much of the time talking about how good in the ring Io is, how good she's always been, and after the match, Mayu herself gets to the ring to congratulate Io on the match. But before Mayu can even start talking, just Mayu has the mic, you can pretty much tell that's what she's going to do. It's Mayu's MO at that point. Mayu, she gets into the ropes, she's about to talk, Io just massive palm strike uppercut, Mayu's dropped, Io picks up the mic, maybe kind of crouches down, and just says that, well, we may have been friends once upon a time, we may have been part of Thunder Rock, we may have been... No, they were part of Threedom. Never mind. We may have been part of Threedom, but now it's all business. We've moved on from our careers since Stardom. We've moved on to possibly bigger and better things. And this title, this one that you hold right here, it's my title. It's the one that I deserve because I am the best women's pro wrestler in the world. Drops the mic, she leaves. As we move on to Hikaru Shida being interviewed by Trish Stratus about Lavender Sky, her interview, her being number one contender. Shida talks about how Lavender Sky is someone who the wrestling world is definitely going to have to keep an eye on in the coming years. She respects Lavender's in-ring work while being so young, Lavender being only 20, I believe. And there's times that experience wins over youth, and it's not like Shida's an old veteran. She has no intentions of losing her title so soon after winning it, so soon after being back in the spotlight, being recognized for her abilities, so long after being... I mean, really, she carried the women's division for a long time, and then kind of just fell by the wayside because of my shitty booking. Now she's a champion again. She's not willing to lose that belt. After this, Darby Allin defeats Donovan Dijak. After the match, Adam Page, who is on commentary, he gets up and he stops when Sting's music hits, and the Icon appears for the first time in AEW with his face paint on. He's shown up for a while, but he was just no face paint, just Sting, normal dude. He has a mic, says that Page and Allin are two of the greatest workers in the company, two of the cornerstones of AEW, and that he's more than willing to get a closer look at this feud because Sting likes to think that he knows talent when he sees it. So he's gotten permission from Paul Heyman, from the rest of the people up top, to be a bit more hands-on for this program, to try to lead it into a direction that'll help both of their careers, including booking his own matches for them. It's just that he wants the two of them to wrestle together in tag team action next week, with Sting being in their corner. 73 rated show, pretty bad. I think we need like a 75 in order to not lose Pop, but yeah, pretty weak show. A lot of undercard people. That's just kind of what will happen with Rampage sometimes to me. Dynamite is still the A show. So that's going to get the really important things, but Rampage, that's when I'm going to start moving up some lesser feuds, start trying to move other people up the card. I mean, this one was, it was a pretty bad show in general. Griffin Slade being pushed up for that, Io Shirai getting more established, getting the world title feud going on. It was a pretty weak show, I will say that. One of the weaker shows that I've booked in a long time, but that's neither here nor there. That'll be it for Rampage, and we will move on to Dynamite in the next episode.